I've been going solo, want my love, baby, earn it. Yeah, dancing on my own, see if you can follow. Got me feeling alive. Watch me go, lose control, is this real? All I feel, freak the signs, every time it's real, real, real. I do what I want. Cause it won't be easy, only get what you work for. Gotta go all out, whenever you see me, don't be wasting my time. Watch me go, lose control, is this real? All I feel, break the signs, every time let's be real, be real, be real. I do what I want.
Good morning. What's new, pussycat?
Happy Saturday! What's new, pussycats? I was not going to be defeated by the space bun. And much like happened the day before, yesterday was Friday, so Thursday when I made the post of my first ever attempt at space buns, kind of like my macarons. Well, they came out pretty damn near perfect. So I captured the moment for posterity because I knew chances of it happening again, slim to none. And yeah, that was right. Yesterday, I did them second attempt. They not only did they not look as nice, as they did the first time. Well, about 30 minutes into the live stream, they were all lopsided. So I ran in the bathroom to try and fix them, which probably just made it worse. And about 5 minutes later, I then thought, okay, I cannot deal with this. I'll just do pigtails. And then I said, no, you're too damn old to wear pigtails. You like some geriatric anime character. So I just, just did away with them. And last night, my husband doesn't usually notice shit like this. But he said, oh, why did you take those out? They were cute. And I said, because they were a damn hot mess. So last night, as I was taking all my makeup off, I thought, you know what? No, I will not be defeated by the space bun. So I tried, God forbid I actually just watch a damn tutorial. Why would I do that? I mean, I've got an extra 18 hours with nothing else to do except try and, DIY space buns. So much like the first attempt, oh my goodness, they turned out almost perfect. And I was like, I was feeling rah rah, very confident. I'm like, tomorrow's a brand new day, and I got this. I will be. What's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. Oh God, it makes me crazy when that happens. At any rate, this morning it was like the first two perfect times never happened. And finally, after about, I don't know, 18 different wrapping, twisting, pins, oh my God, the light bulb went off. And I was like, damn, you know what? Why am I dicking around with all these little bobby pins? Because when you've got like nails on this long, believe it or not, it's a little difficult to maneuver a bobby pin. Why do I even have bobby pins? I don't, because I have everything. And I remembered something I bought years ago and have never used, but they were so cute and they don't take up much room. So it was like, oh, why would I throw them out? Those little claw, they're like this, but they're pretty, like sparkly and pink. I said, screw those damn bobby pins. You can't see the back anyway. And behind each one, because I just have a lot of hair and the weight of it kept making them fall over. And ever since I did them the first time, there has been something. Every time I look at them, I'm like, it reminds me of something. What is it? And when B. Tim said, yeah, they kind of look like horns. And I was looking, I'm like, he's right. There's a thumbnail that keeps coming to mind for it's either a TV show or a movie. I got it this morning, about 10 minutes before I walked in here. And I'm going to show you. Now, this isn't going to exactly, just look at hopefully I don't look like this picture, but hold on. And tell me this is not what these remind you of. Oh, yes. Here we go. Open image. Okay, there it is. All right. Tell me that this does not remind you of this. Now, I don't mean the makeup and the skin. That's more reminiscent of Betty and her, her contouring. Just the hair. Now tell me these things do not remind you of Bram Stoker's Dracula. That's it. That wasn't the original thing that I was thinking of, but today it came to me. I was like, oh my God, yes, that. Only the hair portion, please. Okay. And I still can't think of that word. Redemption. That's not the exact word I wanted, but I have been redeemed. My space buns. I'm damn bound and determined these will last this entire stream. Knock wood. I'm going to say hi to the kids in class in a minute, and before that, I'm going to tell y'all a funny story. It's funny, but it's gross. Okay, so last night, I went to take the dog out for not his last. Sorry, let me put my shoe on. Ouch, damn it. Okay. I'm wearing these today, and they're hard to put on. with one hand. There we go. This top, it's hard to see, but this top, it's tie-dyed, and it has a matching skirt that I'm wearing. And once the family gets here for the football game, well, I won't need to wear heels. I'll just put flip-flops on and be super comfy. I was going to do a video, but I didn't have time. Thanks to these things, I thought I was ahead of schedule. Do y'all ever do things like this? And I knew I was playing with fire. I was ahead of schedule. I went to make a cup of coffee. And as I was passing by the oven, I have like 2 ovens stacked on top of each other. And I caught the reflection in the glass of something that I just wasn't quite happy with. So what do? Despite knowing that it is the last thing I should do. Well, of course, I'm just going to fix it. And yeah, fixing it led to, at least 30 minutes later. So now I don't give a damn what happens. Don't tell. If one of these bitches falls out, just don't even say anything. Okay. Just go with it. So I took the dog out for second to the last bathroom break of the night. And when I let him out at night, we just go out the back door. I stand out there with him, and it's the only time that he's not leashed because, he doesn't see great. And we've been doing this forever. He knows that he's out there just to go to the bathroom. And I mean, when I tell you I'm typically out there less than 1 minute, that is God's honest truth. So I let him out, and I have a lanai back there that's got, a couch and 2 chairs and a table with a lamp and, just outdoor stuff. So I open the door and a smell hits me like I ran face first into a brick wall. I was like, oh, what the fuck is that? Oh my God. The dog was farting around, taking longer than usual, which that in and of itself was weird. He goes in the same place all the time. But even he was kind of like sniffing around. And when I tell you, it was the most foul. Oh, I mean, it almost made me gag. And it was like sour. Thank God I have never smelled a dead person, but I've smelled dead animals. And living in the sticks, I tell you guys all the stories all the time of all the shit that wanders around here. We don't have as many deer as we used to because my husband gave them their last and final warning before shoot on sight. My husband's never. I wouldn't let that happen. But let's just say that apparently deer, well, they're real fans of bromeliads. And we had a row of really big, like mature bromeliads, which by the way, fun fact, did you know that bromeliads are pineapples? I think they either are a pineapple in the flower form, or they will turn into a pineapple, or they're in the pineapple family. At any rate, well, it makes sense, I guess, why deer like them. And yeah, we knew it was deer because you could see all the little hoof prints in the driveway leading out to the road where it's not paved. So I came in and y'all, what was so weird is I was out all day. back and forth with the dog, and I never smelled it. Last night was the first time I smelled it. So once the dog went back inside, I decided, because I've got family coming over today, and it's, oh my God, you guys, it's gorgeous in Florida today. It is about, if I had to guess, I would say it's between 76 and 78 degrees, and it's pretty dry. So that's winter in Florida, or at least mid-fall. So I thought, I'm just going to go I keep a blower on the back porch, the kind, it's not the big giant one. It's the kind with the rechargeable battery. I think it's Black & Decker. So I thought, and it's just for back there. So I thought, oh, it's going to be nice tomorrow. So I'm just going to blow all this off nice in case anybody wants to come sit outside and hang out. Listen, when you only get to spend time outside every, well, I don't know, what do we get? Maybe no more than 30 total days a year. And that just depends on how much you can withstand as far as heat. So when I went onto the back porch, I was like, oh, it's just a small, it's off the lanai, and it's a smaller screened in porch. And there's a huge gas grill. There's a bar with 4 bar stools, some big smoker thing of my husband's that looks like a safe. And I think there's like one other just chair. Well, when I went to get the blower, I was like, holy shit, I smell it in here too. And it's bad. So, of course, I'm assuming, oh my God, something is dead. I don't know how it would have gotten in there, but should have. Funny, stranger things have happened with animals getting in places in Florida. So I go in the house, my husband's in his office, and I said, honey, there's got to be something dead outside. I said, and it is so foul. I like it almost made me gag. And he said, when I was out watering the plants, I caught a whiff of something. But my husband, his whole nasal cavity, he hasn't been able to smell like I do. Like, his sense of smell is not it's not anywhere close to what mine is. So I said, trust me when I tell you, you're just not smelling how foul it really is, because you can't smell anything. So he's like, okay, well, I'll check it out tomorrow. So I get up this morning, take the dog out, and I don't notice it. Sorry. And I was like, well, God, maybe that's a good thing. So I thought, well, I don't know, maybe a big animal killed something and, had just left it somewhere until it could come back and get it. So I thought, okay, well, that's that. So the cats always go outside on this back lanai in the morning. And when it's nice like this, I leave the door open. So Whoopi was waiting at the door to go out. I opened it and went about my life. So probably 2 hours later, I was going to take the dog out, open the door. It's back. Walk the dog. It wasn't as foul as it smelled last night, but no mistaking it. It was back. So I came back from walking the dog and I thought, oh shit, the back door's open. I wonder if it smells on the porch. So it did. And I looked at the cat, who was being, his fat bastard cat self. And he was kind of like, yeah, no, I'm not coming in yet. I'm not ready. I said, okay, well, just hit me up when you're ready. And I tell you what, he does. That cat is so smart. When he wants in, he knows. If I've shut that door, he goes and stands at one of the sliding glass doors, and he will just yell until somebody comes to get him. So I shut the door and I told my husband, I said, honey, it's back again. It's not as bad as last night. I said, but I smell it, and I smell it on that porch. I said, you got to figure out what that is. So he's like, yeah, okay, I'll go out in a minute. And he was looking right out the glass sliding door onto that screen lanai. And I could tell he was looking at that big gas grill, and he said, oh shit, I think I know what it is. I said, what? Last Saturday, I had family come over, and one of them brought what we had for dinner, which was these giant, I swear to you, they were in a bag this long, because she'd been to, I don't know, Sam's or Costco, one of those, and Alaskan king crab legs were on sale, half price. So she bought several bags. Well, when they made them, my husband and his sister, when they made them last Saturday, one of those big silver, like a commercial roasting pan, it's about that deep. The way they cooked them was they laid all those crab legs in that pan, and then you just put, I forget how many inches of water per whatever. They then went, they were all covered in foil, and you put them on the grill, and you basically you steam them. And that way he did it so that the house wouldn't stink. Well, when they were done, they went out with another big roasting pan and tongs and transferred them into the clean roaster. Well, guess what we all forgot? That would be the crab water they were boiled in or steamed in for 1 week, sitting on my backpack. My husband this morning, I said, you better get your gas mask. And he's like, oh, it won't bother me. And yeah, because he can't smell like normal people do. So I saw him coming over from the back of the house. There's like a hose and basically almost like what do you call that? People who garden, you have a table where you maybe repot things and whatnot. There's something like that back there. And when I saw him come around the corner, and I could tell the pan had been cleaned, he came back in, and I said, oh my God. I said, it's making me gag just thinking about it. And what did he tell me? He said, he goes, yeah, it just smelled a little, I can't remember the word he used. Sour, something like that. And I said, honey, he said it smelled like the ocean. Oh, that's what it was. He said it was, well, if the salt hadn't been in there, because apparently there was salt in the pan, he said that the salt helped mitigate some of that smell. He goes, yeah, so basically it was just like the ocean. And I said, excuse me, no, I've never smelled the ocean like that. Can you imagine how bad that smelled? 1 week, and it even escaped. Well, no, it would have been uncovered, at least partially. It's been in the 80s. Can you imagine how foul And I had to think to myself, now I know. And I'm sure a deceased body smells much worse than old crab water. Oh my, oh God, it was so foul. So foul. Thank God he found it. I thought, oh God, please don't tell me something got up in the dam, like, up in the soffit or something like that. And oh, animals get in funny places in Florida, and if they die, they start smelling real funky. Hey, Kathy P. Kathy, I saw this. I will be glad to buy you a drink. What do you like? You didn't need to do that. And I'm sorry. You know what? I try to I usually check before I do a thumbnail, but because I was in a hurry this morning and I just didn't, and I should have. But please don't ever change a live for, you know, I I've done it myself, so I know. And you know what? I heard somebody one time give a really good explanation as to why you're not supposed to do it. Do you think I can remember what it was or who said it? No, but I did. But I appreciate it, and I promise I will try. It is hard when you've got a lot of the same people too, because people do, they want to listen to everybody. Hey, crazy nurse, how are you? Crazy nurse, should we remind me before we're done, and we will pull up yesterday's video because let's just say that Crimes and Fashion may have a Casper the Friendly Ghost, maybe. Yeah, apparently there was, and I've seen it with my own eyes. There was an orb yesterday in my live that y'all. I'm sure everyone's noticed that my camera will autofocus always. It's just because of where the office is situated and how, when the sun moves throughout the day. So I always shut the blinds to help kind of regulate it as best I can. And I do have blackout curtains, but they're all tied up pretty in a nice little, with one of those, it's more than a ribbon, but to just keep them nice and bunched up. And I always say, bitch, like, you put them up there, close the damn curtains. But at any rate, so everyone has seen how the light will sometimes, it'll go in and out. It'll autofocus and the lighting will change. But this, and I'm somebody who I definitely believe that there are things that are inexplicable, and possibly otherworldly. And yes, it was pointed out to me that on yesterday's live, I got a timestamp, and I slowed it down, and I'm not kidding you, and I'm not saying that this is what it was, but I would like to hear alternate theories. So this orb that appeared to be probably, if I had to say how big around it appeared, maybe like the size of a quarter. And it came from behind, I think it came from behind me, from over my right shoulder somewhere. It went all the way behind me, and I was able to watch it clear as day. Like, you didn't have to do any kind of gymnastics to see it. And it went all the way down to the picture behind my left shoulder of, you can just see like a Chanel bag. I could follow it all the way down to the bottom corner of that picture frame. So if y'all remind me, we will look at it before we end. Hi, Glenda. How are you? Oh my God, have a great time in New Orleans. I hope the weather's good. All right. Hey, Res Girl Marie. How are you? TT, the good Tiffany. How you doing, girl? The Runaway Truth. How are you? Cold? Ooh, crock pot. Do you know that you can make an average size chuck roast in an Instant Pot in an hour? And it tastes just like it would have if you'd gone old school in the crock pot all day. Hey, Running Bear, how are you? Hi, Tia. Stacy. Oh, that's very sweet of you to say. I appreciate that. Well, I hope I don't disappoint. Hey, Deanna, how are you? Stargazer Mom. Mike Stevens in the house. Look at Mike's got his little zipper on already. Well, tell that bitch to send me a bag. I mean, that's all well and good. She wants to come and present herself as an orb, but tangible items, shoes and bags, that really says that she's proud of me. Hey, Mama Bear. I did see your email. I have not had a chance to open it up yet. I just saw it in the preview on my iPad. When I start checking things, I will get to it this weekend, I promise. And I hope I can help, whatever it is. Hey, Elsie, how are you? Hey, Voices, how you doing? Oh God, I'm glad you like the hair, because it involved almost blood, sweat. It definitely involves sweat. Blood, no. Tears, damn close. Hey, Lily Laughs, how are you? Hi, Nonsense, how you doing? Beverly, happy Saturday. Yes, Mike Stevens, I am too old for pigtails. Hey, Basic Brooke, that always makes me laugh. I love that name, Basic Brooke. Hey, Beer Can, how are you? Stitching, bitching, and true crime. Good morning, good afternoon. Why do I always think it's morning, no matter when I come in here? Hey, Cashmere, how are you? Hi, Be Still. Happy Saturday. Mystified Me. Hey, Beverly. Refresh. Damn, we're doing good. We are doing good on time. Knock wood. I'm running. Blank screen in the house. Heather Beachy. Hi, Petal. How are you? What's a new name? Welcome. Running. Hi, Language of Horses. Hey, Julie. Oh, skunks. Oh, God. Oh, I've never seen a skunk. That's one of the few things I have not seen out here. Wine, crime, and mayhem. Hey, Cash, how are you? I charged the mouse up last night, you guys. I'm a storyteller, Mike, okay? If you listen, Mike, you should know how the program goes. Don't try and change the program. Just go with it. Well, shave again. If you don't want a beard, shave again. You want me to send you a damn cordless Razor, you can just keep it on standby. Hi, Chris Cress. How are you? Hey, Travel with Caribbean. How are you? Oh, well, thank you. If I turned around, it would definitely dispel the myth that they're on point. It's like, why did it take me so long to figure out to get the damn clip? Because I like to follow the rules. That's why. If you're supposed to use pins, I try and use pins. Yeah, I mean, bobby pins, really, with these? No, not so much. Hey, twin thing, how are you? Truth seeker. Oh my gosh, we've got truth seeker and runaway truth. Do we have some liars up in this mofo? Oh, refresh. We're still doing good though. Hi, KB. A potting bench. Yes, something like that. Very, very similar. Hi, Runs with Scissors. How are you? Oh God, you guys, it was so foul smelling. Hi, Brantley. Thank you. I think that's a new name. Welcome and thank you. I'm glad you like them. I worked really hard on them. I'm glad that you appreciate them. Hi, Marcy. Just a YouTuber. You saw it too. Well, don't worry. We'll watch it. I'm going to put the kibosh on that. I think if that had been the case, it would have run right into my head and probably exploded. Yeah. And then, you know, what is inside my head, which at least in large part is sparkly glitter, confetti. I'm pretty sure my head would have, you know, just exploded like a piñata if that had been the case. Hey, Hazel Eyes, do you guys want to see it first? Why don't we do it first? As soon as I get done with the roll, we'll watch it. And it's very quick, but I just don't want it to be don't let me get like talking about ghosts and all that kind of stuff. Hey, Jess Samantha, how are you? And I think I definitely believe there are things that cannot be explained. Oh, Laura, you bad girl. How are you? I hope you're doing good. You've got a great attitude. That'll go a long way. Hey, Cambry, how you doing? Still in lava. Laura, are you trying to get me sued? Okay. I know you made a comment about how much you'd like to see me and Betty go head to head. Lisa's too busy for that. Oh, Caribbean, you bought the Glotion? Isn't it? I'm telling you, it's awesome. And I'll tell you what, L'Oreal Glotion is what is on my face. I mean, I put fake tanner on, but I don't, no foundation, none of that. And it comes in 4 different shades. And I tell you what, it is, to me, it is one of the best tinted moisturizers I've ever used. And trust me, I have the Chanel tinted moisturizer sitting above it that, is probably, L'Oreal's about $12. Oh, probably 6 times the price and is not nearly as good. Nonsense, you're babysitting? Hi, Amy M. How are you? Hey, Becca. All right, we're almost there. You know what that means. That means we're probably not almost there. Well, hey, Kit, how you doing? I hope things are good in your end of the world. Hi, Glory. All right, we're gonna put this orb up. Hey, B Tim, how are ya? We will put Bella. We're gonna put the orb up. Hey, Beth. By popular demand. Wise Angel UK, how you doing? Oh, damn it! I was just about to say we're there. Oh, Mike Stevens. Mike Stevens with his gratuitous, shameless compliments, which is why I keep you around. So, all right, we are there. Okay, let me pull this up really quickly, and then we shall get to the business at hand. All right, YouTube. Now, what is the name of that channel? What is that little bitch's name? Crimes and Fashion. Oh, she's so mean. We hate her. I'm just misunderstood. Okay, here we go. I have given those damn little emojis, they have been working hard. All right, if memory serves me correct, it was oh shit, the one time I don't have my phone. Let me grab my phone, y'all, for the timestamp. Oh, how about I will hit the song bowl, the gong. Thank you, Diamond Cutter. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay. All right. Let's see if my memory is correct. I think it's 1 hour 59. Whoops. 59:01. Look at that. I was close. I just reversed it. Okay, 59:01, and we have to watch it on 2 times the speed. Or I'm sorry, 0.25 is what we have to watch it on. I think what I'll do is I'll let it play first with normal speed, and then we will slow it down. Shit. And I'm actually going to remember to present the screen this time. What do you think about that? That is progress, people. Okay. All right, I'm going to full screen it. We are at 58:16. 59:01 is where the alleged sighting, well, it's not alleged because I did see it, takes place. So see, I have not watched it at regular speed, so I'm curious to see if I will see it this way. All right, so you're going to want to look behind my right shoulder. All right, here we go. True Jedi fever. I love that. Welcome. Yes, thank God it is Friday. I think there's only one person sitting around today going, I'm going to give you here's how you'll know we're very close. You're going to see me highlight Menace to Sobriety's comment. When I remove that, when I unpin that comment, that's when you know it's coming. No matter what day it is, this is bad. This is all bad. Oh, and I love it so much. Much like in the vein of, yeah, that thing we were just talking about. you're going to have a front row seat
Oh, I
to
did see
my
it.
live dramatic reading. Yes.
Wow.
But
I actually saw it before.
I just
I've already seen
love-
it ahead of time.
I love to
so
read the
keep
shade and
watching
then
when you're and you're gonna follow it
firmly jam that
down
up her
toward the
ass.
floor
I know
at the bottom of that Chanel picture.
we do not provide lube. Bring your
There it
own
is.
if you need it.
Oh my God, that's
Hey, Nurse Bev, how you doing?
Okay, we didn't even have to slow it down to see it. So, thoughts? Do you want to see it slowed down? Were you all able to see it? Because I saw it. Voices saw it. True Seeker saw it. Just a YouTuber saw it. Becca saw it. I guess we don't need to slow it down. I mean, we can, but Mike, why aren't you paying attention? Hey, Spudler, how you doing? I mean, Marbella, I'm sure there is a rational explanation for it, but it was definite. I mean, it was interesting. I don't, okay. Hazel Eyes wants me to slow it down. Okay, I will slow it down. All right, I'll put it down. Okay, so not everybody saw it. I'm gonna take it down. And actually it does appear. Crazy Nurse, did you notice that? I was able to see it before even the timestamp. So I'm gonna back it up and I'll put it on the slowest speed. So let's see, what was it? Settings. Okay. All right. Here we go. We're not going to listen, though. That's ridiculous. When I listened to this morning, I didn't turn the sound off. It was so like cringy. It's like, oh God. In fact, I don't think I've ever watched any. I usually watch people speed it up. Y'all, typically, I tell you what, there's almost nobody that I do not listen to on 2 times the speed in the morning when I'm doing, playing catch up from the night before. It's almost always on 2 times the speed. My God, I know it'll not be on -2.5. I know that. God, this takes forever. Okay. Now, what's interesting is now that it's on the slowed down speed, I did not see it prior to highlighting this comment. And when it was on, okay, I did. I just saw it now. As soon as the comment is unpinned, look behind my right shoulder. And it moves fairly slow. That's what's interesting. I thought, okay, can you see it? No, that's a reflection. I haven't seen the orb thing again yet, but I did see something further back but it was just like more of like a block of light, not a. It's hilarious. I wonder what I'm saying. Oh, I know exactly what I'm saying right there. I think it involves something about shoving it up Betty's ass. Sans lube. Lady, would you get to the point already? Hurry it up. We don't have all day. I'm already growing old with Betty's lawsuit. Okay. Okay, see it? It's going directly behind me. It's at the middle of the picture. The middle picture, and now it's dropping down and it's traveling down to the end of the frame. It's going on, it's going to go all the way down to the floor. Well, what do we think? And I'll leave it queued up so we can watch it. We can watch it at the end. Hey, Emmy. Oh, you saw it? I'll leave it queued up in case anybody wants to see it again. That wasn't here. Oh, hey, white boy moves. How are you? I laugh every time I see your screen name. So oh, we're looking for the orb that made its appearance yesterday. Some apparently think it's Coco Chanel come to say hi. I said, bitch, just send a bag. That way, gift, job well done. Well, Mike, later on, when you're, hanging out, just go to minute 59.01, slow it down to 2 times the speed, and just look behind me. You'll be able to see it. Hey, Petunia Pickle Butt. Okay, I promise we'll play it again at the end, okay, for anybody coming in that didn't see it. Hi, Scorpio Sting. How are you? Sophie King. How you doing? Okay. All right. There's only one other thing I wanted to address before we get right back at this. I heard someone sent me a little clip this morning of, and basically, I'm just going to give an alternate answer to the question that, clearly it wasn't really a question. It was just a rhetorical thing. I need a sticky. Give me a second. And that is, apparently Dolly did a live, I guess last where this took place in the very beginning, and it's the only thing I listened to, so I have no idea what happened after that. But he was talking about Savage does her Toys for Tot drive. And obviously, I'm assuming everyone knows that those two, neither one of them has any use at all for the other. And I have also made no secret of the fact that I have loyalty for Savage, because unlike a lot of people in this place, when I'm always say that one of the YouTube anthems, when I do my merch line, hopefully at some point, is going to be borrowed from Chris Brown, and that is, these hoes ain't loyal. We all know that's very much true. I, on the other hand, I don't ever forget anyone who has been good to me, shown a kindness to me, etc. I've made no secret of the fact that while I may not agree with everything Savage does, and who agrees with everything anybody that they watch does? I mean, I don't think I have yet. However, she has been very good to me. I can support the person and not have to support everything they say or every act that they do. So, I mean, and as far as I know, Dolly's never, he's never
shouted my channel out or anything like that. And I'm not saying that he should, but I'm just explaining. I have loyalty for Savage, to Savage, for Savage. And I just wanted to answer a rhetorical question that he asked about this Toys for Tot drive. Because I think sometimes, and this can happen to all of us, but when you are so blinded by how much you hate someone, and I'm not speaking on either one of them and their, the reasons behind why they both feel that way. I know, I saw with my own eyes that screenshot that he wanted information on her family. And even if, he was just mad and let's say, oh, well, I was never going to do anything with it. I don't know. I'm not in his head, but I know how I felt when someone, because I said some words that they took issue with, someone I'd never had a problem with before. And I just did what everybody else does. And I did commentary on, hey, Earth, how you doing? On some of their content. And it was a couple times. But apparently that warranted, well, forget about the things that were said, because who gives a shit? It was fucking ridiculous. But I'm talking about the insults. I don't care about that. But when you want my address, why? You send me a postcard? So all that is only to say that I understand how furious she would be. So when he said last night that he thinks, I'm paraphrasing slightly, and he said, why would, if you want to help someone at Christmas time, why the hell would you send things to her or to any YouTuber, I guess, but he was speaking on her. Why wouldn't you just do it yourself? Every store you go to around the holidays has either a donation box or, there was something about a police car, like stuff the car with, donations for people in need at the holidays. Well, you know what? Because he hates her so much, quite naturally, it all sounded very nefarious. And like, well, my God, there could be no possible other explanation besides the fact that I believe what he said is, in his opinion, it was probably a situation where you just go ahead and send donations to her, and like she's gonna go through it and set out her own pile of swag, Christmas gifts that she wants to keep, and then she'll donate the rest to something like make herself look good, like she's doing something for her community. And he was just seemed to be very puzzled as to why would anybody do that? If that's a legit thing, why? Like, why? Well, I'll tell you exactly why. Because, and I listened to it more than once just to make sure, listen, let me tell you something about me. Just because I have loyalty to someone, or even if I don't have loyalty to someone, but you're just someone that I like a lot. But it's more so when you have shown a kindness to me, that goes a long way with me. I think it should go a long way with a lot of people. But just because that is the case, that doesn't mean that I don't have a mind of my own and I can't ever, oppose that person's thought process. Or what I'm saying is, I don't have to be in lockstep with every decision you make, every thought you have. No. But you know what I do when I do not support something? I stay silent. That's how I do it. I mean, I say all the time, there is definitely a lot of diplomacy. You know, it's always puzzling to me that a place that is filled with some of the fucking dumbest people I think I've ever encountered, and some of them are in large groups. And you know, obviously there's plenty of very smart people as well, but it is puzzling to me, and it's very ironic the level of diplomacy that I find myself having to. Maybe a lot of people get in trouble, like, oh, I don't know, Betty, because, and people who are like her, because they are so driven by emotion and emotion only that they can, and they have no impulse control, so they can't just stop. You know, like in school when they would tell you about fire drills, stop, drop, and roll. I don't know. How about here? It should be stop, shut your mouth, listen, proceed with caution, or however you're going to proceed. It really is not that hard. So, but when you are so blinded with hate or whatever you want to call it, when when you just can't, when you have a nemesis, those two are each other's arch nemesis, I would imagine. Well, obviously, the only scenario that Dolly could come up with for why that could be, it was all nefarious. Hey, Audacity. Hi, Notre Dame. How are you? Oh, thank you. These are my redemption buns from yesterday. Yesterday's were a hot ass mess. So I'm going to give one reason that I came up with, and I didn't have to think about it at all. It just popped right into my mind. I listened to him. I don't remember. It was a couple of minutes long, and I listened to it twice just to, I wanted to make sure that I understood what he said. And I was not here last year to see the Toys for Tots donation drive that she does, but my understanding is this is something she's been doing for quite a while. So Dolly, here is a very legit reason that someone would send to her rather than just doing it themselves. Well, you know why? Because I would imagine there's many people, and don't imply any kind of negative context behind it, but I don't think it's at all a stretch or difficult to come up with this scenario. Maybe someone who wouldn't do that either because some people just don't think that way. Some people are selfish. Some people can't afford it. There's all kinds of reasons people wouldn't, and they're not all nefarious. But you know what? Maybe she understands that. And it's a way to do something good for children in need. And maybe I've never gone out of my way to give to Toys to Tots or any other charitable organization during the holidays for whatever reason. But you know what? Boy, I really love her channel and I really like her. And because she asked if we were so inclined, that's why I'm going to do it, because I really like her. And it's something it's something that means something to her, and it's close to her heart. And Dolly, I've heard you say out of your own mouth how, your subs, they definitely, the more they're with you, if you're lucky enough to hold on to a lot of your subs, they do feel close to you.
So there you go. There's a very simple explanation that is not nefarious. Okay. And hey, everybody does things their way. I heard him say that he and PJ were going to find a family and, help out a single mother. Good for you. I think that's great. I wouldn't, why would I shit talk that? So, I get it. You two have beef, but I really think you would be well served to, just occasionally let your brain get ahead of your mouth and, you don't, everything is not nefarious. Okay. And, that's it. That's it. That's all. Okay. Carrying on. All right. Boy, I really do like this lipstick, you guys. If you like a matte lime crime, and I forget what this is called. Oh, soft touch. Tell you what, for a matte, it's pretty damn, it wears pretty well. Okay. Yeah, Truth Seeker, I agree. It's like, I wish that they could bury the hatchet, both of them, and just go their separate ways. And because it just gets so gross. I mean, it's one thing to have words on the internet. It's an entirely other matter when you start, people's families. It's just gross. So, all right. Picking up where we left off, which was, okay, we are on page 7. This is the Real Legal Professional, also known as an attorney. This is their motion to dismiss Betty's pile of shit lawsuits. And what I'm calling the best parts, that's coming up. Those are the emails back and forth that you all have not heard yet. These look like they were done in the days right before this was filed. All right. Oh, shit. I might have to read the last paragraph. Truth, innocent construction, or both. Oh, I'm going to have to read a little further back. Otherwise, that one's not going to make sense. Well, truth, innocent construction, or both about the only conceivable but undefined statement applies, and the statement is not defamatory. And that was about Betty and Dolly sleeping in the car. Hey, Team Marie, how are you? That, quote, Molly Golightly, end quote, made a payment contemporaneously with encouraging Bullhorn Betty to proceed with her crusade against Queen Bee, renders the statement either true or subject to innocent construction. Again, Bullhorn Betty's first amended complaint, what we euphemistically refer to as the new and improved lawsuit, not improved enough. Again, Bullhorn Betty's first amended complaint engages in strained characterizations to bolster non-existent claims. Oh, do I need to get my little bomb out and keep him handy? Folks, just assume that we are carpet bombing this complaint, okay? Oh, and on the other side, yes, I will be throwing my own isolated F-bombs, but just think of it this way. I mean, how many other channels actually have a bomb on their desk? This came from Uncommon Goods. And if you need just that, a gift for someone hard to buy for, Uncommon Goods. Don't worry, that's going to be in my Lisa's favorite things. Okay,
carrying on. Molly Golightly, a former YouTube channel. Oh, I'm sorry, I missed a sentence. Engages in strained characterizations to bolster non-existent claims when it comes to Bullhorn Betty. Oh, I'm sorry, that should be quote. Bullhorn Betty was paid by Molly Golightly, a former YouTube channel, to report findings on Queen Bee. But what Exhibit H to the First Amendment complaint actually says is, quote, I knew you were doing this for Molly Golightly. Her payment confirmed it. Ellipsis. You're putting on a show for your friend. End quote. Exhibit H is what is said, not what Bullhorn Betty construes it to be. That must be examined. Yes, Betty has a bad habit of making things not so much as they appear to be to everyone else, but how she would like them to be. What was purportedly said is Queen Bee stating that she thought Bullhorn Betty was putting on a show by doxing Bullhorn Betty. I think that should have said Queen Bee. That's a typo. By doxing Queen Bee for Molly Golightly, because the latter provided her with financial support. What was actually stated lacks sufficient specificity to be defamatory. That was absolutely one of the points in this mountain of paper that I was repeatedly said, who cares? What difference does it make? What was actually stated lacks sufficient specificity to be defamatory. They cite a case. That's about that case that's stated. I don't need to read that. Don't need to read that. Moving on to the next page. Here, there is no specified quid pro quo in the actual statement complained of. So it is equally subject to innocent construction. And remember what we talked about yesterday, the innocent construction, much like every jury instruction that's ever given in a criminal case, the jury is always instructed by the judge that they are to view the facts in the, what's the exact verbiage? The light most favorable to the defendant. Further, as for payment, it is true, Exhibit 2 is referenced, Molly Golightly paid Bullhorn Betty $99.99 and was invited on Bullhorn Betty's stream where they proceeded to dox Queen Bee. Very much true because I remember watching it, painful though it was. Again, truth, innocent construction, or both about the actual statement, not Bullhorn Betty's characterization, applies, and the statement is not defamatory. I mean, you know, it's very interesting here that the lawyer has very much picked up on the fact, and remember, he doesn't know Betty. He hasn't been watching her bullshit shenanigans for as long as we have. He knows her from here and from whatever videos I'm certain he has had to suffer through. But let's remember, he's getting paid a lot of money to do it. We do it for free. Why do we do that? That is very typical of her. She is always looking, it's like a paranoia, like
everything is construed in the most, DEFCON 4 dramatic interpretation by her. Everybody's out to get her. I mean, then there's some statute that is stated, as a matter of law, not a single thing complained of is actionable within the claims asserted by Bullhorn Betty. As to count 1, defamation, none of the alleged statements are actionable. Yes, and I will remind you that I have screamed those very words many times since this started. Bullhorn Betty fails to explicitly say whether her count 1 is defamatory per se or per quad. That's because she likely doesn't know. And there is the little matter that it isn't either. But based on the argument, not fact pleading, close paren, of paragraph 59 and the lack of any pled particular damages, it is clear Bullhorn Betty claims defamation per se. And I think, I don't remember which is which. Per se, I think is, let me just look it up. I don't want to, there's no reason for me to give you my layperson. Because there's a difference between me and Betty. I'm not certain of, I know what it is in my mind, but why would I give you my version when I can just Google it and give you the actual Google definition? And I have no problem admitting that I don't know. But see, Betty can't do that. Betty, that's a large part of her problem. Like, she cannot just ever admit that there's something she doesn't know. So instead, she just screams it a little louder and looks like a fool. Of course, she's the only one who can't see it. Okay, defamation per se. And then we'll do the other one since we're here. Defamation can take 2 forms. That's libel written. A false statement is considered, in some cases, a false statement is considered so inherently harmful that it is considered defamation per se. Meaning, it is presumed to be damaging to a person's reputation without any additional proof of harm. So if I said she killed somebody, there you go. And she did not, per se. Now let's see what is it quo or quad? I don't know that you do pronounce the D on the end. I think it is quad. A defamation per quad claim is the idea that one can be held liable for defamation if the plaintiff proves that the statement caused actual damage. There you go. So, in the former example, oh, did you know Betty killed someone? Per se, per quad, she actually was arrested and detained based on said statement. Okay, so there we go. Okay. Hey, Claire. Well, B. Tim, thank you very much. Per quad, it means that you actually had that there was defamation and that you suffered a consequence based on that defamation. So in the example I used, Betty killed someone per se. Betty was actually held arrested and held for a period of time based on me saying she killed someone. Yes, twin thing. Exactly. There is no shame. In fact, to me, it's quite the opposite. Your credibility skyrockets when you will admit, listen, only a dumbass. Hey, Southern Mimi, only a dumbass claims and wants others to believe that they know everything about everything. I mean, we all know somebody like this in our real lives to some degree or another. As to count one, defamation, none of the alleged statements are actionable. Bullhorn Betty fails to explicitly, oh shit, sorry, wrong paragraph. Isn't, God, so many of them sound the same. Bullhorn Betty fails to explicitly say whether her count one is defamatory per se or defamatory per quad. But based on the argument, not fact pleading. All of what this lawyer is doing, this is pleading. Betty's complaint, where she's supposed to be pleading, is argument. She's briefing. First, before you see, and this is why I kept saying that, in my opinion, all of this is the product of a chaotic mind. Because before, you've got to first lay out ma'am, why the hell are you here in my courtroom? So that is, the pleadings are what you are alleging happened to you. That's the first thing you need to do. Then what she's been doing the whole time is briefing. That's laying out why you did or did not do these things, or they did, or the opposing party did or did not. I mean, it's like there is a process in place, and it's there for a reason. She's just like vomiting all of this shit all over you. And the reason they needed a bill of particulars is because, listen, the law is nothing but procedures. I mean, the playbook is called the Rules of Civil Procedure. We also have the Rules of Criminal Procedure. We don't reinvent the damn wheel every time there's a suit filed. Kind of like the psychologist's Bible is called the DSM, the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual, which contains a code for every conceivable psychological, psychiatric condition. So if you decide after all these years that Betty should have probably spent on someone's couch, pouring out her heart and soul, and they decide that, oh, you're right, my goodness, you've had this, you've had that, I see a little bit of this, I see a little bit of that, I think we have a little bit of oppositional defiant disorder going on. I think we got a little, you get the idea. So like, if you decide to part ways with this doctor, when you go to see someone else, all they do is get your records and they see, okay, you've been diagnosed with code, blah, blah, blah. That's their playbook. Well, the court's playbook for how things are done. Criminal procedure, civil procedure. Each state has their own. The federal district has their own. And the districts within the federal districting has its own. It's the playbook for how things are done. We start by this. I mean, everything is in there. the time frames within which you have to respond to things. What happens if you don't respond? The procedure for, oh, I'm sorry, I need some more time. How do I ask how long do I have before my time runs out to go to the judge and say, please, can I have a little more time? There's nothing left to chance. What it isn't is this, where you just say, well, fuck it. Excuse me, don't you know who I am? I am a world famous YouTuber. I am also world famous for my fucking idiotic lawsuits and the fact that I think I'm 100 times smarter than I actually am. Yeah, I'm pretty much known for that. Yeah. Because otherwise, this is what you would have. And the court system that's already a clogged up mess, every docket in every state and town in this country. Well, imagine if we didn't have procedures laid out for everything. If you doubt me, I can tell you this, the rules of civil procedure, well, I know about Florida. I don't know about Illinois. But Betty should have bought Illinois, clearly. I can tell you Florida's is at least 2 of these, probably 3. So, you know, when you are someone who only goes on emotion and are ruled by your emotions, everything you do is done around how you feel about something. She doesn't get that the courts, they don't care how she feels about what happened. You have to coherently lay it out, the allegations in the pleadings, which are the beginning of the process. Then we make motions based on pleadings. And a motion is nothing more than, hey, judge, can we? One thing I think people do not understand, like even my husband asked me about this, because he said, you know, and I can raise my hand and say, as I'm sure all of you in the chat can as well, as one of the people in this country who actually pays taxes to pay for people who don't, so they can, and I'm not talking about people who are legit disabled and can't work. I am happy to take care of them. You know, it's too bad that we can't get that system dialed in, like, you know, the rules. But, you know, my husband said to me, well, what the fuck? Why, when is actually, it went a little something like this. This is exactly what the fuck is wrong with this country and our court system. You get some asshole like her who has no idea what she's doing and is like, my husband doesn't watch Bullhorn Betty. He knows more than he's ever wanted to know because of me saying, oh my God, you're not going to believe what this dumb bitch did. But he certainly knows about people who do shit like this and people like us who pay the salaries and, you know, and you, not, you know, you're paying with us, not shit, not you paying us. He said, sorry, I gotta get my glasses. Damn it, they always fall at the worst place. He said to me, you know, this is one of the things that's wrong with our system. When the hell is the judge gonna say, enough of this bullshit? It's very obvious what you're doing, ma'am. Hey, Bathtub Mary. And one of the questions he asked me was, he said, do you mean to tell me when that fucking giant mess was filed, that doesn't go to the judge's desk And he reads it and says, insufficient. Bye. You lose. Try again. I said, honey, that's not how it works. When a judge judges very well, I was going to say very rarely. I think it is somewhat rare. They do this on occasion, but this is an exception and not the rule. And I want to look it up and make sure I've got the right word before I say it. I believe it's called sua sponte. We're going to find out. Okay, yes. Gee, I wonder if I went over to Betty's right now and said, Bets, do you know what a sua sponte ruling is? She won't. I said to my husband, no, that's not how it works. I said, based on this, I said, yes, the judge would see that this case has been docketed to him. The judge waits on the parties to make motions to then proceed. So that's just how it works. But judges do occasionally do what's called a sua sponte motion. So, and that is basically exactly what my husband said. It's when the judge does not need any request from either party to make a ruling. Or, well, yeah, it would just be a ruling that I don't think they would. I don't know. I guess they could do their own motion. No, I think it would just be a ruling. So there's a process in place. That's all I'm saying. And in her world, I mean, I hate to sound like a broken record, but only someone who's got some real fucked up thought process about how the world works feels like they are entitled to not only go terrorize people in front of their homes based on nothing more than a news story that they've seen. She is not privy to one bit of evidence or information about the case that the rest of us are. So, and not just that, not only are you willing to go and do that and look like a complete fucking nut job. Sorry, let's call it like I see it. Not only that, you are also so deluded that you actually think that it is not only your right, but like right now, do it because I said so. Telling out there screaming at law enforcement, arrest her already. How many times did you hear that bitch say? And I'm only focusing on Quinn Simon because I think, besides Dawn and Candace, that was her most egregious behavior, I do believe. Oh, and sir, Dolly, I want to, I got another thought for you. Because I heard you say in that same clip that, I'm going to paraphrase it, but basically it was like, look, whatever I did that shit. That was a year ago. You people need to get over it, blah, blah, blah. Well, Dolly, I'm not a regular viewer of yours. So if what I'm about to say is something you have done, well, then I'll walk back what I'm going to say. But what I'm going to say is, well, in a perfect world, yeah, that's how it would work. But you have to consider how vile and egregious it actually was. And perhaps more important than any of that, well, have you actually apologized? And he may have, like I said, I don't watch him, so I don't know. But if that is really, and here's the thing, and in the case of him, at least from where I'm sitting. I don't think that he's had, let's just say, a career. Like, and when I say career, I don't mean a real career. A YouTube career. I don't think he's got quite the resume of doing this kind of thing as Betty does. So in his case, I think that if he actually seriously said to people, listen, it was a bad choice. I regret that I did it. I'm apologizing to anyone I hurt for doing it. And most importantly, I'm telling you, I'm not going to do it again. I'm not going to have an encore performance like that. Well, that, you know, and if all of those things were true, then I could agree with, you know, you should not. If you have true contrition and you don't have a big resume of doing this kind of thing and you don't do it again, then I would agree. We don't need to punish someone in perpetuity for one bad act. But I don't know. Something tells me that he's done similar. But I do think that's probably the most egregious. Her case, no, fuck her. She's made a pretend job out of it. So, but it takes I'll just say special kind of mindset to have. I mean, I'm serious. How do you have, like, you're fresh out of fucks about how you look, how you appear to look to normal people, not weirdo sycophants who you're their fearless leader for whatever reason. I just can't imagine. I promise you this, if my ass ever showed up on the news for some behavior like that, no, I'm still scared of my mom. I'd be getting a phone call like, I don't give a damn how old you are. Not acceptable. But see, even as I sit in this chair as a 53-year-old woman, I still have enough fucks in my purse for the fact that I would not embarrass and shame my family in that way. So it takes a special kind of mindset to have the ability and the desire to want to be viewed in that way by the public, in combination with demanding that law enforcement do something because you told them to. I mean, I'm sorry. Y'all call that shit whatever you want. I call it really fucking weird. That's what I call it. I call it, I don't know, doesn't appear to be wrapped too tight. I mean, how many people have you ever seen on the news behaving like that? I kid you not, until her, I can't think of one. And honey, you might want to break out a history book. You know, Betty would have you believing she's, you know, the Caucasian Rosa Parks. You have clearly somebody was absent, like, oh, I don't know, every day of history class. Well, we called it civics back in the day. But yeah, I would, something tells me she's not a reader. I would get an audiobook or, my God, I don't know. Why don't you just watch the History Channel? Just put in protests, you know, modern day protesting, civil rights back in the, you know, God, when did Martin Luther King, and was it 60s or was it earlier than the 60s? I'm not trying to give you all a history lesson. What I'm trying to say is what that bitch calls protesting. No. We're going to call that what it is. That's called an adult temper tantrum by someone who has an insatiable desire for power, for control, for people to believe all of the pretend. Hey, Okie, how you doing? Okay, so that's it. And I see y'all are putting lots of comments, and I'm trying to read them as they're going by. But you know, as far as Dolly goes, I have said what I said based on what I personally know and have seen. I am not sitting here saying, you know, if someone, clearly there's lots of you who've been around here a lot longer than me that have seen things that I haven't seen. I've said why I have, because here's the thing. My main problem with Dolly is that I could get over this part of the Quentin Simon debacle. The thing with Savage, I got a really hard time with that. And I'm sorry, my loyalty is with her on that. I think it's, I heard what he said about Queen Bee yesterday. That dude, do you need to go back to math class? I don't know. Like, you're throwing a figure around that, I mean, I don't talk to Queen Bee every day, and it's typically just by text message, but I mean, I'm pretty sure I talk to her more often than you do. And I don't know where your calculations are coming from. I don't know how you would be more privy to the funds that have been raised for lawyers. What I hear is a lot of people. So while he has personally never done anything to me, and Dolly comes in this chat, and I am never, ever rude or unkind to him. He comes in and stirs the chat up. I've told the mods, unless he starts, you know, derailing this chat or being, you know, talking shit about people that I clearly, what's Queen Bee like to say, I fuck with. I've never told him, I've never blocked him, but I don't like the way he's, and just because there's a whole lot of duplicitous people on here who only fuck with you when it's beneficial to them for some reason or another. And there's lots of people like that on here. I am not one of them. Okay. So I just don't like things that I know he's said and done to people that either, you know, have been kind to me. Well, that's it. I don't need to say any more than that. So this is not about Dolly. It's about Betty. But, you know, I don't need to say any more about it. Okay. To efficiently address what Bullhorn Betty has tossed. Oh, like this little bomb. Remember, we're carpet bombing. Or actually, I can't get props for that. That's the lawyer is carpet bombing. Queen Bee presents the table below. Before that, though, a few points of law must be set forth. Oh my God, are you serious? We have to go by the law? Excuse me, do you not know who she is? Okay. You need to rewrite those laws, okay? Because no, that's not right. I mean, to me, that's kind of the equivalent of what she typically does. Like I said yesterday, if Betty does not like her image on YouTube, that she has, she is very well deserved. But nonetheless, instead of saying, you know,
I'm sick and tired of the things people say about me. I'm sick and tired of that bitch Crimes in Fashion telling me the truth. And, you know, all the haters and the roaches and yeah, all that. So instead of sitting back like a normal thinking, mature, middle-aged woman and sitting down, you know, what like Michael Jackson said, I'm looking at the man in the mirror. In Betty's thought process, she would rather try and exert some non-existent control and or power over all of us to make us change what we are wrong. It's us. We're the problem. Does that make sense? Rather than saying what most of us do and have a little self-reflection, self-awareness, and self-accountability. Listen, there have been, I can say this, most of the time that more than somebody I know just hates my guts because they're jealous or whatever the case may be, but just an average person that leaves a comment or something, more often than not, if I get a comment that's dressing me down, I can absolutely say that quite a bit of the time, I will sit back and say, well, you know what? When I sit back and I look at it from that perspective, I can understand why this person said XYZ. I'm not talking about stupid, you know, just stupid juvenile insults. I'm not talking about things like that. But, and there have been several times when people have, because you know what? I figure if you care enough to take your time to leave me a comment about something that I've said that's, you know, or done, that's really gotten under your skin and bothered you, and you're going to take the time to tell me why, well, I'm going to take the time to read your comment. And what Betty would do is just, fuck you, you're just fucking hater. Blah, blah. And then I, as a person who's got, you know, some manners, well, you know, even if I maybe don't agree, I'm almost always going to say, well, you know, I apologize. I can see how you might feel that way. That's what grown-ups do. So instead of trying to tell all of us and sue everyone into silence or submission, perhaps you should sit back and wonder, what is it about you that makes so many people just bristle at the sound of your name? Based on the argument, oh wait, did we do that? Yes, sorry. First, statements lacking specificity in alleged illegal activity are not actionable as subject to innocent construction. Then he cites a case. Second, only statements of fact, not opinion, are actionable. U.S. Constitution, Amendment 1. There's a case that he cites. Bullhorn Betty pleads herself out of court. Oh my God, I friggin' love that. Boom! And we'll throw one of these too while we're at it. Pleads herself out of court with her verified. Remember what we said about verified? That's under oath. I swear or affirm that the foregoing statements are true to the best of my knowledge. Blah, blah, blah. verified under oath statement, Queen Bee did not intend to be factual. Let me read that in its entirety because it sounds funny, chopped up. Bullhorn Betty pleads herself out of court with her verified under oath statement. Quote, Queen Bee did not intend to be factual, end quote. And then he references paragraph 62 of the new and improved complaint. Hey, Amberly, how are you? KB, did I say hi to you? Blank slate, hello. Anybody else I missed, I'm sorry. And I will catch you before we're done. Additionally, loose figurative language and hyperbolic. Sir, I think that's called hyperbolic. What did she call it that time? Hyperbole? Jesus. Hyperbolic language are protected by the First Amendment. He cites a case, and we have a footnote. Let's see. I think, okay, that footnote is about the case that he cited, which is Troy Group, Inc. versus Tilson. I'm not going to read that. Anybody who's interested, there it is. Then we have a handy dandy table here, just like he promised, where he references different paragraphs. Paragraph 32, sub A. Claims of stalking and harassment without specificity are subject to innocent construction. Belgrade Inc., Supra. Quote, pretending to report, end quote, is an opinion and non-actionable. Ba-boom! I think I should go back in my little notes and see every time I wrote down not actionable. Oh, it would be fun to see if they lined up with the real legal professionals' thoughts on what is and is not actionable. Accusing someone of, quote, trolling, end quote, is both opinion and non-actionable. All of the foregoing are constitutionally protected, loose, figurative language. Betty seems to barely understand the straight up verbal King's English. Like, don't be getting all like fancy with her and trying to like sarcasm, hyperbole, figurative. Yeah, don't, please. 32B, calling someone a, quote, tragedy pimp, end quote. Oh my God. Did you ever think you would see the term tragedy pimp in a court setting? Well, we wouldn't have had it not been for the vice president of tragedy, the board of directors of Tragedy Pimps Inc., Ms. Bullscorn Betty. Calling someone a tragedy pimp is an opinion, regardless of the supposed reasons for it, or at least a constitutionally protected epithet. 32C, accusing someone of, quote, exploiting victims, end quote, is an opinion. You don't say? Regardless of the supposed reasons for it. Similar to, quote, blackmail, end quote, in Greenbelt Coop. Another case. 32D, this subparagraph does not allege defamatory conduct. Same thing for 32E, same thing for 32F. 32G, making certain unidentified statements about Bullhorn Betty's mental state, such as being mentally ill or schizophrenic, are opinions, hyperbolic, or both. They are also figurative language. No one would take seriously as a fact, as Queen Bee is not a psychiatrist. Oh, excellent, excellent observation, sir. 32H, calling someone a lolscow or hog might be mean-spirited, depending on the context, but it is an opinion or hyperbole. Also, in the case of hog, it would be, hold on, I'm trying to move the comments down. An anagram. Hello to anybody who came in while I've been yakety yakking. Let's see. 32I. Addressed in the motion. Never mind that one. That's just something about one of the paragraphs. 32J. There is no statement alleged to be defamatory here. Just Bullhorn Betty's characterizations, but even those characterizations show Queen Bee allegedly stated opinions or characterizations of what Bullhorn Betty does or does not do. Similar to the statements in Troy Group Inc. That's another case. I should have said acronym above, not anagram. Isn't an anagram like B-O-B, where it spells the same thing forwards as it does backwards? But whatever an anagram is, and I think that's what it is, but that was not the correct word. Acronym is what I should have said. 32K, never mind, that's already addressed elsewhere. 32I, this subparagraph does not allege defamatory conduct. 32M, claiming someone needs bail money or will be going to jail are not actionable statements. My God. I would be so effing embarrassed if I was getting schooled like this and shaded like this. After I had screamed my ass off for what, just about 2 years, give or take, about how much I know about the law, and I am a legal professional and I am educated in the law. You can read the law, but your problem is you don't understand the law. Oh my God. My channel, after this getting filed, and I wonder, I mean, one of Betty's #1 super fans is in this chat. Maybe he can answer. You know, and I'm not going to ask you to answer for the group, Mike, but I'm just curious. Like, what will it take, if anything, if there's anything that could be said or done? Hi, little 15. How are you? What's a new name? Welcome. Hey, Tracy. What, like, is there any point where you will ever sit back and say, well, you know, maybe Betty really doesn't know anywhere close to what she claimed to know? Because this and the dismissal that is, I would be shocked if it did not follow. This should dispel all of you of the notion that she is some sort of Mensa. I mean, it should dispel the notion that she's even a high school graduate, as far as I'm concerned. And as with every time I have made a statement like that, because we know how Betty likes to sue people, I base that opinion. I'm not telling you that you need to believe that. You believe whatever you want to believe. If you want to believe that, you know, she's the CEO of LegalZoom, like you do you. But just for me, I refuse to believe that someone is graduated. Well, I refuse to believe that anyone who speaks, writes, all of it and everything it encompasses, those two things, her verbal and written communication, grammar, punctuation, the whole nine. I'm sorry. I've never seen anyone that is educated, formally educated at the level she claims to be,
who is that subpar in communication. And it's not just that, it seems like comprehension and logic and things are also not, on par. Hi, Love Shack Sarah. How are you? Haley Hopes. Oh, V Tim, I said yesterday, what if it were me? What she should do is immediately wave the flag. We know she's not going to do that. Her delusional hubris will not allow it. So default, I mean, she'll either let it go to a default. Please refer back again to what I just said about the delusional hubris, which I don't really think is hubris. I think it's extreme inadequacy that appears to be hubris. But I'm not a shrink, so I'm not diagnosing her, because as the lawyer so artfully stated, I'm not a shrink. Who would believe my diagnosis? And I'm not making one. I'm just thinking out loud. So I mean, it's either that, it'll be default, or she'll just the bloodletting will continue. And I don't know. I guess it could be a toss-up. I would, I truly believe, I have never believed this was about money. I heard Dolly say something to the effect of, neither one of them have any money. Well, I don't know the state of their finances, but I would, what I would say is very few people have the kind of money that it takes to continue a futile pursuit such as this for any extended period of time. But I truly believe that this has never been about anything more for her than, I think she saw this as a perfect opportunity to shut up all the haters and show them how smart she is and her legal brilliance. And she wrote the Pelican Brief. And it did more to show what she actually is and how smart she is. It did more to illustrate that than we could have ever done. And I love that for her. I really do. Yeah, I'm just a huge fan of irony. And this is the ultimate irony. The ultimate irony is that her being her is going to be her undoing. That control freak, like just all of it. She'll undo herself in the end. Benny, don't worry. Nobody needs to worry about getting you off of YouTube and taking your channel out and conspiring. Oh my God. Benny, people like you always fix their own wagons, in my experience. Of course, they typically wreak a lot of, oh, look how cute she is. They typically wreak a lot of havoc in the process before, before all the wheels come flying off of the red flyer wagon. Hopefully nobody gets, hit with any of the flying wheels as they're coming off while they're barreling down the hill at 100 miles an hour on the ice with, greased wheels. We'll just move on to the next one. 32N, calling someone, quote, Strangler Betty or Battery Betty is not defamatory. Especially not when they're, the perfect defense.
Truth. It's in a police report that she put her hands around someone's neck. Calling someone Strangler Betty or Battery Betty is not defamatory. First, they are hyperbolic, loose, figurative language that people will not take as asserting facts. Oh, except for the Strangler one, because that, I do believe that is in an actual police report. That's where the nickname came from. Did y'all just see another one of those things fly by behind me? Because I did. Maybe something flew past the window and it was the interesting. Betty, is that you? Oh God, I'm in trouble if it is. We're gonna skip down to 32I. This rambling subparagraph. That was an IED. We've had a few IEDs in here. Rambling subparagraph alleges very little that could be construed as defamatory. The only place it might be is where Bullhorn Betty was alleged to, quote, threaten or harass, end quote, subjects. But in the very documents provided, paren, First Amended Complaint, Exhibit K, close paren, did in fact say, quote, oh, the only place it might be defamatory is where Bullhorn Betty was alleged to, quote, threaten or harass, end quote, suspects. But in the very documents provided, Bullhorn Betty did, in fact, say, quote, I could care less whether you live or die, end quote. Quote, ellipsis, I would want you to be in the gas chamber for what you did, end quote. And boy, isn't it a good thing that she has no actual power over anyone or anything? Because bear in mind, I do believe that statement was said before an arrest was even made. Quote, I don't think you deserve life, end quote. Ellipsis, quote, I think you deserve death. Let's straight to the point, end quote. Quote, I want to see you die. Boy, that, I mean, that is wild, considering she doesn't know this person at all, and they haven't been arrested, they haven't gone to trial, and they haven't been convicted. But this is your constitutional scholar speaking here, okay? Just bear that in mind. Betty loves the Constitution. Just not any of the parts where, you know, you gotta wait for the evidence and the arrest and the trial and the conviction and the appeals. No, BTM, I mean, it is mind-blowing. And listen, that is not to say that when I sit on my couch and I watch these people who are, you know, I usually wait until they're arrested, at least. But when I see this, of course, I turn and look at my husband and go, oh my God, if I was running this bitch, let me tell you something. Anybody who did shit like that, sorry, you're getting your trial, you're getting your one appeal, it's going to be quick, and then we're killing you. Yes, I say things such as that when we hear about these god-awful stories like that bastard in, oh God, was it Ohio? The one who killed his 3 children. The wife was in the house. Remember, he was sitting on the front doorstep when the cops came and they were just laid out in front of him. He hunted the one down in the woods when he ran away. The daughter was able to run out of the house. go to the neighbors asking her to call for help. Yeah, when I heard that story, yeah, I said the same thing. What I did not do is come on you. Well, what I really didn't do was go stand in front of his house. Of course, he was already arrested, but any of these stories I've ever heard, I've never, I mean, I don't know about you, but this country it's a mess. And there's a lot of, oh goodness, there's a lot of fucking nut jobs running around out there. And you just never know who's behind the door. So I don't know, just for me, there is no one in this world who, unless you did something to one of my family members, God forbid, and even then, I think I'd be more in favor of maybe some covert operations. Yeah, what I've never done is gone and stood in front of someone's house and called them a killer and all the things. So I just don't want it. I don't want to make it sound like I myself do not share some of her thoughts on these kinds of people. But for me, I like them to be convicted first before I, sentence them to death. I am very much for the death penalty. The older I get, though, the more I understand the benefit of perhaps the more punitive measure is the long game and like death by 1,000 cuts, so to speak. Like, oh no, it's probably better if we leave you here to sit and rot. But whatever the circumstance and whatever my personal thoughts are on it, they stay on my couch. With her, not so much. And one day, she may very well meet the wrong one. I just hope when it happens, and of course, I don't want to see anything lethal. Absolutely not. But I'd be lying if I said I wouldn't like to see that wretched bitch standing in front of someone's driveway, making a damn fool out of herself and taking the whole neighborhood captive. I'd be lying if I said that I wouldn't love to see someone come out and punch her in her face and lay her out flat. Sorry, not sorry. I would love to see it. I'd laugh my ass off. It's what she deserves. Anything more than that? Of course not. But, sometimes, what do they like to say? Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. But to literally say all these things, to memorialize them. And let me tell you, B. Tim, to your point, and this is interesting because I skimmed through this when I got this, but that's it. So when I read this, and we still have a couple more sentences to go, but when I read this out loud, do you know what's interesting? And remember, we're going to have the frame of reference that other fact finders, if it gets that far, bench trial, jury trial, well, we have a different perspective than they're going to have. It sounds worse, if that's possible. It sounds even more demented when it's on paper being read out loud. And that is surprising to me because I would have thought it would have been the opposite, but not for me. It's not. It really sounds cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs that somebody would say these things. Listen, like I said, in the privacy of your own home, amongst your family or whatever, of course, we all say things. Those of us who are rational and smart, we don't go saying shit like that. when we haven't even had an arrest up to then. Quote, I want to see you die. Ellipsis. I want to see your last breath come out of your body. End quote. How do you muster that kind of rage for it kind of is like freaking me out, like that she would not that she has the feeling so much, but that she doesn't have enough sense to not at the very least hold it for a more appropriate time, like, I don't know, after conviction. Frankly, Griffin was Bullscorn, sorry. Frankly, Bullscorn was harassing the person who made the police report, and truth is a defense. Goodness, I think I just said that. 32, paragraph 32, sub end. Oh, I just love when I get validation, especially from other smart people. 32, you, subparagraph does not allege defamatory conduct by anyone, let alone Queen Bee. None of the statements are defamatory per se. None of them are defamatory per quad either. And even if they were defamatory per quad, Bullhorn Betty has not alleged any special pecuniary damages tied to any of the given statements, and so the count cannot stand. I need to see if I'm pronouncing that word correctly. I need to know. Per quad. Whoops. And I'm saying it like that because I've heard other people say it like that, but it's here enough that I want to hear it. You're going to hear it too, because I'm going to make, okay, let's hear. Per quad. Okay, so it is per quad. All righty. Whoops. Damn it. As to count 2, there is no claim for tortious interference with prospective business advantage, as criticism of Bullhorn Betty's business model is justified, and there are no claims that YouTube dropped Bullhorn Betty. Oh, mystified me. I didn't see your comment about your fur baby, but I see the prayer hands, so I don't know what it is, but I hope your fur baby will be okay. Boy, I tell you what, that's one of the worst. That's one of the worst hurts. The only time I've ever seen my husband cry, ever, was when we had to put our dog down. Oh God, it was my phone. Why did I think it was my glasses? It's because animals they're the only, like animals and children, they're the only pure things on this earth. I always say, I mean, the words, they sound hollow, but it's the only thing I've ever been able to come up with. The price, the reason that you have to go through, the reason it hurts so much when we lose them is, for me, I feel like when you get the gift, if you're lucky enough to have the gift of an animal or a child We're like the only things in the world that love you unconditionally. Typically, children do. I mean, animals always do. Well, the price you have to pay for that love is the way it just guts you and the grief when you lose them. Bullhorn Betty concedes an interference with prospective economic advantage claim requires, among other things, both an intentional and unjustified interference and the inducement of a breach or termination of the expectancy. And then he quotes case law. You know, I did find that to be so interesting that, goodness, isn't it shocking that someone who, you know, was able to just lay out all this case law and to talk about it in such a very intelligent sounding manner. Well, it's so interesting how when it gets to not the case law part, you know, the part that it's, well, I mean, it's nothing you can plagiarize or borrow. Not that I'm saying she did that. I mean, other people have said that, and I would have, well, let's just say it definitely seems we've got, in any given document, we have at the very least 2 distinctly different voices, sometimes 3. So yeah, it's just very interesting. Betty must save all her brilliance for when she quotes case law and whatnot. That is interesting. It is notable. Again, Bullhorn Betty claims fame from her business model. Bitch, you have never been famous and you're never going to be famous. Okay. Possibly infamous, but Betty, you are the embodiment of the old adage, being the expression or the adage is being a big fish in a small pond. You are not a big fish. We are in a pond filled with scum and algae and car parts and frogs, and you get the picture. Mosquitoes is like mosquito breeding pond. You're a small fish in a smaller pond. Like, are you real? Like, I'm embarrassed that you ever said those words because they were so absurd that they will live forever. That you're world famous. You aren't. You might be world famous on your street, and I'm sure it's not for anything good, much like your YouTube career. But you are not famous anywhere at any time. You're never gonna be. You're not even notable. You're not notable for any reason except bad ones. Hi, Menace. Where's an oyster emoji? I don't see any. I am not touching that one. Okay. Her own First Amendment complaint shows she published a video on her YouTube account where a law enforcement officer recounted her saying, and then he's got some bullet points. Quote, "I could care less whether you live or die." End quote. Quote, "I would want you to be in the gas chamber for what you did." End quote. By the way, I think there are very few jurisdictions that have a gas chamber. California is the only one I can even come up with. And I don't know if they still have it. They used to. I don't know if they still do. quote, I don't think you deserve a life. End quote. Quote, I think you deserve death. My goodness, this has turned morbid rather quickly. End quote. Quote, I want to see you die. Ellipsis, I want to see your last breath come out of your body. End quote. And now we have a footnote which says, as this is a 2-615 motion, Bullhorn Betty's promotion of her other arguably abhorrent, another IED, Betty. Boy. And I want to just for the benefit of maybe anyone who, I'm sure everyone has seen lots of trials, but for the benefit of anyone who, hasn't read lots of legal documents, I'm going to tell you this, especially in a civil matter. That, boy, lawyers don't just throw words like that around, okay? Oh, and here's one other thing I need to clear up that I heard from Dolly. Dolly, you go ahead, you think whatever you want, and you tell your audience whatever you want. I can assure you of this, and I promise you I have more legal experience and know, while I will give you that you quite certainly have had more up close personal experience with lawyers of a certain type for your, some of your little issues you've had. I will give you that hands down. I wouldn't argue that. And this I will argue. And I'm saying this from a professional standpoint, as someone who's known many lawyers through her life and who's, worked for, been educated by, interned for. She has a phenomenal lawyer. I don't care what you read on a Yelp review somewhere, or if you even did, but he did make a remark that, oh yeah, I looked up her lawyer. But what I was going to say is, lawyers do not throw, good ones. Because let's remember, we're not talking about the one who thinks she's a legal professional. We're talking about the one who really is, the lawyer. And they are very much governed by the American Bar Association. They have a code of ethics. There's a code of ethics in the courtroom. There's professional, lawyers can go at it all day long in the courtroom, and then they can go and have a drink with each other later on. I mean, they typically don't do that while a case is going on, just to avoid any appearance of impropriety. But what I'm saying is, no lawyer wants to appear to be a clown in front of his colleagues with his bad behavior, etc. So they do not, unlike the subject of this motion, they don't throw incendiary language around or even inflammatory language around without good cause, and it's done to really illustrate the point, not because it's Tuesday at 3:00 and, well, some people only have like all the words they know fit in both hands, so they don't, like, I consider myself a little bit of a wordsmith, and not just, oh, well, I left you a comment one time that was the size of at least a chapter. Yes, y'all, when I write my book, and don't worry, I will change the names to protect the guilty and the innocent. few though they may be. Yes, and go ahead and send me suggestions on which celebrities you would like to play which YouTubers. Yeah, because I'm pretty sure I'm going to write a book about this place. And believe me when I tell you, well, I mean, not to blow my own horn, but I'll blow my own horn. I can, some people just blah, 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 can talk. Well, I can talk and write. I would say an equal ways. This concession within the four corners of her First Amendment complaint shows that others are right in criticizing her methods. Incoming! Another IED. And they have every right to do so. Yeah. It's called, well, if it was anywhere but here, I'd call it community standards. I mean, unfortunately, we don't have an HOA in this neighborhood. We need one though. Oh, well, I know who would want to be the president. What Queen Bee has purportedly done is justified, not unjustified. Boom! Another ID incoming. Internet campaigns against individuals accused of acting abhorrently are not actionable simply because people do not like being called out for bad behavior. Sir, you have just made your way onto my gift card list. Do you like cigars? Are you a Scotch drinker, perhaps? I know a little something about little being the operative word. Just recently, an attorney employed by the Illinois Comptroller's Office was terminated after internet outcry for saying people belonged in a gas chamber, among other things. Oh, goodness. Well, that would be almost on point, except this person, well, she doesn't have a job. And that one, well, other than that. He cites the case, tells where the internet, Reuters, Reuters.com, legal industry, / Illinois. Betty, Reuters. Betty, did Reuters issue your press credentials? I'm just wondering. That was rhetorical. That attorney and Bullhorn Betty both share the notoriety of wishing people into gas chambers. Oh, isn't that nice? Individuals have the right to advocate on the internet against those they find problematic. Sir, I'm just going to throw a little colloquialism in here because I doubt if you can use it in your briefing, but that's just legalese for what I like to call shitbags. Yes, we have a lot of shitbags on here. Sometimes bags of shit, but usually shit bag. In fact, that is precisely what Bullhorn Betty claims she does for a living. Put people in a gas chamber? Oh, no, I'm sorry. She advocates on the internet, although I'm sure she'd love to put someone in a gas chamber. Nothing Queen Bee is alleged to have done is unjustified based on what appears in the four corners of the First Amendment complaint. Let me look something up here. I think I know what it is, but I want to. He's referenced the four corners of the document twice now, which makes it notable to me. And I believe it means, hold on. Let me see how he put that. Four. I remember this from school, but I don't remember it well enough. To give you, I'd rather just look it up. Four corners legal definition.
The Four Corners Rule is a legal doctrine that courts use to determine the meaning of a written instrument, such as a contract, will, or deed, as represented solely by its textual context. Doctrine states that where there is an ambiguity of terms, the courts must rely on the written instrument solely and cannot consider extraneous evidence. There you have it. I was thinking something similar to that, but no, I would have had it wrong if I'd have just guessed. Gosh, it's so nice we don't have to guess anymore. Oh, damn, look at you guys putting Mike Stevens. Did you say Gary Busey? You wanted to play Molly Go Lightly? That's what you usually say. I see Kathy Bates. Bullhorn Betty has also failed to plead. She did not secure an agreement with YouTube. This is a threshold requirement. Now that, I do know what that means. That means you must overcome this hurdle or see ya. Bullhorn Betty, I'm going to read it again. Bullhorn Betty has also failed to plead. She did not secure an agreement with YouTube. This is a threshold requirement. Bullhorn Betty claims an expectation of an agreement with YouTube. What Bullhorn Betty does not claim is that YouTube has ceased doing business with her. As such, Bullhorn Betty has not pleaded the necessary elements of the claim. Because how do you suffer a loss like you're claiming? Bitch, I would be shocked if you netted 200K in 4 years. Never mind grossed in 1 calendar year. You are absurd. As to count 3, Queen Bee's purported behavior is not sufficiently extreme or outrageous, given Bullhorn Betty's claimed fame and behavior. Yeah, you think, listen, sit in that shit, bitch. Stand on it. You want to be this, I mean, I don't know what else to call it besides a friggin' ass clown. You want to be a professional ass clown because that's how you get your validation, by a bunch of strangers on the internet. That's what fills you up and makes you feel good. So fucking stand on it. And as such, you want to act outrageous. People are going to say outrageous shit about you. A lot of it's true, I'm sure. I mean, I wouldn't sit here and say everything that everyone says about her is true, but as it concerns this, whether conduct is extreme and outrageous is a question of law. He cites a case. And it takes a great deal to be so outrageous. Well, she would understand that, wouldn't she? To be beyond all possible bounds of decency. Yes, see, I'm a little older than her. And I remember a time when we had this band called Two Live Crew. They were from Miami. They were rappers. They were filthy, foul. Their hit song was censored on most radio stations. They couldn't even play the real version. Well, Two Live Crew, along with some other bands, well, my goodness, we had a senator named Al Gore, and he had a wife named Tipper, and Tipper was your, quintessential bored, rich housewife, who, of course, they had small children. So Tipper decided that it was going to be her mission was going to be to get record labels to slap warning labels on the front of albums. I don't even think we had CDs at the time. We had cassette tapes and albums, not 8 tracks with the small ones. Yes, and it was called the PMRC, the I thought it was parental music. Does anybody remember what that was called? Here we go. Google. I'm making this bitch work hard today. The PMRC, I believe, is what it was called. PMRC. Okay, let's see. Let's see what Google has to say. The Parents Music Resource Center was an American committee formed in 1985 with the stated goal of increasing parental control over the access of children to music deemed to have violent, drug-related, or sexual themes via labeling albums with parental advisory stickers. See, I lived through that shit, and I damn it, I wanted that 2 Live Crew record. I don't know if I had it, but I do remember listening in the car, Billy Squire, and it was called Stroke Me. And I was so naive. I was a kid. I was lucky. I was a kid for a long time. I was sheltered. And what I remember is my parents would always change the channel when it came on, and I would always say, I love that song. Put that song. What's wrong with it? I don't understand. Yes, Caribbean art. You must be a young one. Well, you look young, whether you are or not. But you're younger than me if you don't remember the PMRC, parental music. Shit, I've already forgotten it. What did I say it was? Parents Music Resource Center, and Tipper Gore spearheaded it. And 2 Live Crew and Me So Horny is what kicked that whole thing off. And that was their goal, was to have. And the reason I brought it up is because when the lawyer said, whether conduct is extreme and outrageous is a question of law, and it takes a great deal to be so outrageous and to be beyond all possible bounds of decency. Well, hey, Hondo, how you doing? I haven't seen you in an age. We're not usually conscious at the same times. It's nice to see you. Would you tell Jenny Jen I said hi next time you see her? I haven't seen her. Well, I see you when I see her. That's why I haven't seen either one of you in a long time. But I remember when they were having those hearings, more bullshit they were wasting our tax money on. Oh my God, the hearings on Capitol Hill that went on about the damn PMRC. And I remember, I think it was this. If it's not this, it was something involving Larry Flint and one of his lawsuits with Hustler. But one of the Supreme Court justices said, when they were trying to define, I'm almost positive it was this, because they were trying, where they were having a problem was defining vulgar, hold on, I want to use the word I saw in the obscene. One of them famously said, when they were going back and forth, what's obscene? How are we going to define obscene? Because you have to have some, you have to. If that's what you're doing and you want to, make it a law or whatever, that you slap these warning stickers on albums. Oh, and it just, my God, can you imagine? 2 Live Crew is like, they listen, all you like all the rappers nowadays, 2 Live Crew, they were the OGs. They laid the groundwork for you guys. And Elvis would say he laid the groundwork for them. It was true. Elvis had the same shit. Elvis was arrested for doing an outdoor concert where he had already, his agent had already, Colonel Parker, made a deal where he would be spared being arrested and charged for indecency because of the way he swiveled his hips. And when he got on stage, he just said, yeah, to, do whatever he had to do so he could go and do this concert. I think it was in Houston, possibly. And he was like, fuck you. And he did it. And he was arrested. Of course, Colonel Clark got it out of him. But when these hearings were going on, this justice said, and I'm sorry, I can't remember which one it was. Actually, we can Google it. He said, well, I may not be able to define it, but I know it when I see it. So when I read that, it really does hit home with me. And I'm sure many of you in this chat are old enough to remember the PMRC and like, look at Larry Flint. I've been talking too long. Larry Flint of Hustler fame. He was constantly in court and, you know, for obscenity related things. So what, because of our Constitution, basically the way it just has to be is that it has got to be, because it's very hard. Everybody's moral, well, Miss Allweight herself, Laura, she's something else she says in addition to Allweight is, you know, in fact, she and I, no, not she and I, me and her have had this conversation on a panel more than once as it relates to, that is one time about Scab Girl. And, you know, she was not, didn't think it was, she didn't feel like it about it like I did. And, you know, she has said, that's your moral compass. You can't impose your moral compass on other people or expect them to feel the same. Hey, True Jedi, how are you? Oh, well, thank you, Mike. What, did somebody say at 50 you're finished? Is that what? Anyway, because of our Constitution, you really do. You have, something has got to be, it can't just be distasteful, gross. No, it's got to be something that almost nobody except a depraved mind would be cool with. It takes a great deal to be so outrageous, to be beyond all possible bounds of decency. Yeah. Insults, indignities, threats, and annoyances are insufficient. For a claim to lie, what Queen Bee did would have to be, quote, intolerable in a civilized community, end quote. You know, I just love the fact that when I stop to make an observation based on just something in my life or something I know from my education, and then I read a sentence and it's basically exactly what I just said. And I did read this once the night it came out, but other than that, you're getting my cold reaction here. Even if someone intends to act tortiously, unless it is intolerable in a civilized community, it is not actionable. And you know what's really interesting about that statement? Well, with that being the test and the threshold that has to be met, quite obviously, Queen Bee said nothing that anyone could construe would meet that threshold. However, I find it very ironic that the subject of this, she very much could meet that threshold. Could she not? I mean, let's read it again.
even if someone intends to act tortiously, unless it is intolerable in a civilized community, it is not actionable. Well, how many people do you know that if we just pulled 10 random people, I was going to say Walmart, but no. How about the grocery store? If we just pulled 10 random people and showed them a clip and gave them, minimal fact pattern and said, do you find that unacceptable in a civilized society, like what was going on in front of Quentin Simon's house? I don't know. I mean, I would like to think that 10 out of 10 would say, hell yes, it's disgusting. What the fuck's wrong with this woman? But that's not realistic. But I would hope it would be an overwhelming majority. So it's just very interesting that the person who actually resembles that is the one who's suing someone for some words. There was something I wanted to look at up here. Oh my God, Andrew Dice Clay. Hey, Audacity. Andrew Dice Clay. Oh yeah, I remember. Mike, for what? For being the biggest Karen on the internet and getting fucking laughed out of court? What do you think she's going to make case law over? And who told you that? Betty? In her fucking dreams. And if she does, it's not going to be for anything good, much like everything else she does that she gets notoriety over. I mean, that's the sign of real thirst. When you're so desperate for attention and notoriety that you will take it any way you can get it. Most people do not want to be known for something gross. Paragraph 51. Distilled to its essence, all Bullhorn Betty complains of is the following, and we've got 5 bullet points. Number 1, internet activism, which, interestingly enough, is exactly what she says she does. Number 2, concerning a famous internet journalist herself. Your Honor, assumes facts not in evidence. Number 3, being accused of being so-called tragedy pimp in various ways. If the fedora and wingtips fit, probably patent leather, like lime green wingtips. If they fit, if the fur coat fits, wear it. Number 4, for standing outside homes, yelling at the occupants that she hopes she can see them breathe their last breaths and that they belong in a gas chamber. Oh boy, that one leaves a mark. Number 5, in order to make further her business and make money. And then he references several points in the FAC. Such activism is not intolerable in a civilized community. Guess that depends on who you ask. Calling out famed journalists for monetizing themselves, screaming outside of homes that they wish people would die, if anything, furthers a civilized society. I would agree. Absolutely. Finally, Queen Bee claims, Bullhorn Betty claims punitive damages. Punitive damages are when your conduct has been so outrageous. Let me see if I can remember the types of damages from my legal education. actual damages, I think, actually, are they called actual damages? I don't remember the name at the moment. Actual damages are just what they sound like. It is what you have actually quantifiably with receipts suffered in losses due to the conduct or negligence or inaction of another. Compensatory damages are, if I remember correctly, I think compensatory damages are when you are given damages relative to what you would have. See, it's been so long since I've talked, but punitive I've always remembered. We'll look them up. Punitive damages are when your conduct has been so egregious that it is not enough to award only actual damages for out-of-pocket losses alone. That will not suffice. A message needs to be sent to you, like Purdue in the opiate lawsuit, a very large, and let's not forget, damages are not like endless. They are governed by statute. That little book Betty should have bought, the Rules of Civil Procedure. But shit. Let's look up types of damages. But punitive is the one that we're trying to send a message, and it's not only sending a message to you that what you did or failed to do was so outrageous that you need to be punished in excess of actual realized damages, and it's sending a message. Look at us, we're going to law school today. Hey, Mike, has Betty, I mean, she might have, I've just never heard it. Has Betty ever, when she's sitting back in her gamer chair, has she ever said, you know what, let me look that up because I'm not sure and I don't want to give you guys the wrong information? Or does she just like, you know, like what I've always seen, she just froths at the mouth and tells you how fucking stupid you are. You don't know what she knows. She knows the law. She studied the law. She's a legal expert. But see, when you're the most insecure person in the world, you just can't admit that you don't know everything because for some reason it. Oh, you gave them to me? Okay. I see. All right, let's see what we have here. Okay, so pain and suffering is exactly what it sounds like. Loss of consortium is, well, like, let's say you have a spouse who is gravely injured, greatly injured. And let's say that you are not able to, maybe they're in a wheelchair and you're after an accident and you are no longer able to, let's say you ran marathons together or ice skated, whatever it is, any kind of loss that you suffer because of something your partner is no longer able to do that you all used to do together. And that's everything from what goes on in your bedroom to your hobbies and everything in between. Property damages, we know what those are. Consequential, is that like punitive? I would imagine. Oh, I don't need to pick that up. That's just a pen. Okay, moving on. Finally, Bullhorn Betty claims punitive damages. It has been black letter law for over 60 years that Illinois does not allow punitive damages to be awarded in an action for intentional infliction of emotional distress. And then he cites a case, which I'm sure explains, obviously, the court's decision and why that is. And when he says black letter of the law,
that means it is what it is. And in 60 years, nobody's ever decided to view it as optional or a suggestion. He cites another case. Because the defendant's outrageous behavior prompts the tort, punitive damages justified on the same outrageous conduct cannot be allowed. And that is exactly like, I don't need to break. You don't have to be a legal expert or a legal professional or legally educated to understand what I just said. It is exactly what it sounds like. The compensatory damages themselves are viewed as punitive enough. Compensatory is the one I need to look up because that one wasn't covered in what I just looked at. Compensatory damages. Compensate a plaintiff for harm, injury, or losses caused by a tortious conduct of another party. Actual damages. That's what I said the first time. See, I'm used to being in, and the terms may have changed. It's been a long time since I've looked at any of this kind of stuff. Like I said, I'm more familiar with criminal. These things that I'm drawing on from, it's been 25 years since I've been in college, and I haven't worked in the law since before that. So I'm having to go way back. And when I did, it was mainly criminal, and most of what we all look at here is criminal. So it's very possible that some of the terms have changed or evolved. Yeah, Crazy Nurse, same thing. Crazy Nurse worked in civil litigation. I know you were at the federal. Did you only do federal, or did you do both, state and federal? Okay. As to count 4, with no unlawful purpose or tortious or unlawful act pleaded, there is no civil conspiracy. So one begats the other. If there's no wrongdoing, well, then it just follows reason that one automatically goes bye-bye. There's no conspiracy if there's no wrongdoing. Bullhorn Betty's First Amendment complaint explains that overt tortious acts are necessary to further a supposed plan, or that the results of the plan themselves are unlawful. Cites a case. Oh, Eli Lilly. What's wrong? Don't y'all like Purdue? What, Bets? You fan of Eli Lilly? Oh, maybe. Well, I don't know if you take any medications that Eli Lilly makes, but I'm pretty sure they make some that might make you feel better. Might make you happy for fucking 2 minutes of your life. You never know. They're probably pretty too. All the pretty little pills. What Bullhorn Betty pleads is not an unlawful purpose. The purportedly sought result of demonetization of an internet journalist because of them doing and saying horrible things is not unlawful in and of itself. And as shown above, there are no tortious acts in furtherance of that purported goal. Thus, there is no claim for civil conspiracy here. Yeah, that's the one that she never even, not that she tried to, all her exhibits, like, I'm not kidding you. I think he said spanned almost the entire alphabet, and then I saw the number 22 at some point in here. So let's just go with 22. Like in 22 exhibits, each of which was multiple pages long. Like 95% of them, I had no earthly idea what she thought it was proving and why it was there. E, this is not a car wreck or a slippery parking lot. Bullhorn Betty's attempt to extend a duty of care to, quote, everyone owing another a reasonable duty of care, end quote, and that's why people can't stand you. How do you, with a straight face, think that anybody in this world owes you a duty of anything except not to, like, overtly try and kill you? The way you treat others. And Betty, it's not just coming from people on YouTube who've seen your catalog. No, these are like real, these are lawyers. And they can see you for what you are. And like, it's just, I really wonder, how could she think for 1 minute? Let's just say that, let's just do a little hypothetical here. Let's say that this, look, we're going to fantasy land, okay? And this doesn't get dismissed. And we go all the way to the end, and there's a trial, whether it's a jury trial, a bench trial, whatever the case may be. Of course, you know, Betty will think that it's the trial of the century, it's Murdoch part 2, it's OJ part 2, and yeah, all that. Even if this pile of shit, which is only part of it, it's just the part that I happen to have in front of me, even if all this passed the scrutiny and the legal bar that it needs to hurdle over to survive, much like Queen Bee's countersuit survived, because it met the requirements, it met the threshold, because Betty, like, doesn't seem to understand that it's not enough. You can't just say, well, you know, I'm a control freak and I get to do whatever I want, but nobody else, everybody else has to listen to me. And if you don't like something I have to say, well, I will just sue you if you complain about it. Okay. So that. So let's just say that this survives and we get to a trial. Well, you know, we're going to have some evidence come in, and, you know, the whole trial is based on these terrible things that have been done to her. Well, we're going to have to, each party is going to have a right to show evidence that, you know, in furtherance of their case, of proving their case. Well, do we not think that Quentin Simon and the ensuing 2 weeks or so of insanity that went on out there, do we not think that that's going to be shown to the jury or to the judge? And what happened here? You were called a tragedy pimp, ma'am. I mean, it's absurd. It is. It's just absurd. Hondo. Oh my God, I love it. Incoming!
IED and carpet bomb. Bullhorn Betty's count 5 is a Hail Mary toss of spaghetti at the wall. I'm so glad somebody else sees it my way. When other torts do not work, Bullhorn Betty contends every person owes every other person a duty at all times for all things to see if it sticks. Except her, of course. She's only on the receiving end of duty of care. She gives out any treatment she damn well pleases. But all of you, and of course me, we all owe her kid glove treatment, no matter what she does, okay? So I just need everybody to be on the same page. That is insufficient. Sir, I am really glad that you and I see things very much the same. Bullhorn Betty must identify what exact duty of care is owed, and then he cites a case. And she has not. And for that reason, the count must be dismissed. Motion granted. More important, she cannot do so. Queen Bee owes Bullhorn Betty no duty of care to be nice to her, to not criticize her, or to even forego advocating against her behavior, demonstrated in Exhibit K of the First Amended Complaint. Bullhorn Betty's absurd position would mean that a dirty look on the street would be actionable if it caused someone distress. Well, sir, I would agree, but we're going to need to get a little more specific with this. Not if it caused somebody distress, if it caused Betty distress. She doesn't give a shit about any of the other people that might be in distress. Hell, I'm in distress every day having to look at her hair and what she does to the English language, okay? It makes me want to weep. And we won't get into her bed streams, okay? So she's done a lot of things that cause me distress. I'm not suing her over it. There is no basis in law for the duty. Likely, that is why one was not identified. F, count 6, must be dismissed because there is no well-pleaded claim. Motion granted. Queen Bee is not unjustly retaining benefits from Bullhorn Betty. Yes, in fact, please let's all not lose sight of the fact that Bullhorn Betty has double the subscribers that Queen Bee does. Of course, I would say Queen Bee has half the subscribers with 1 million times the love. And just because you all don't understand it, you don't have to understand it, but it's pretty undeniable. I mean, look, this entire defense has been crowdfunded. And let me tell you something. I have said all along, and I believe it, and I'll keep saying it. I am sure very many of the people like myself who've donated each time a new fund has had to be raised do so for the simple fact that they love her channel and her. And when I say love, you know what I mean. However, I promise you, there are people who are continuing to donate to this who maybe don't even care for her, but they can't stand Betty and what she does. Betty's behavior and Betty's mindset, it's dangerous because it is very reminiscent. But here's another irony is that the woman who wants you to believe she's a constitutionalist. Well, bitch, I'm a unicorn, okay? I can say I'm anything I want, much like you say you're anything you want. Doesn't mean it's true, because how many people
claim to be a constitutionalist, except they don't give a shit about anything in the Constitution, except maybe this. I mean, give me a break. You are more, your thought process and your behavior is more reminiscent of a communist dictatorship. That is why I've called you Batista Betty. I mean, I haven't called you that lately, but those were some of my better thumbnails back in the day. Yes, I had a picture of a lovely resort in Cuba. And I've been watching Boardwalk Empire in the final season. Nucky is trying to, prohibition is going to end, and he's trying to make a deal with the owner of Bacardi Rum to be the sole distributor of Bacardi in the United States. And they're brokering their deal in Cuba. But it's just another one of the ironies of her. Y'all, I think I hear my in-laws just walked in the door. So we are going to finish up this page, and then we're going to wrap this up because it's been 3 hours and 15 minutes, and that's long enough for me to be talking. Unjust enrichment is a quasi-contractual claim typically proffered as an alternative theory of recovery to breach of contract. It is based on an implied contract. He cites a case. Unjust enrichment is based on showing that a defendant has voluntarily accepted a benefit from the plaintiff that would be inequitable to retain without payment, since the law implies a promise to pay compensation when the value of services are knowingly accepted. Cites another case. I'm going to read the last sentence. There's a couple words here. I'll finish the last sentence on the next page, and then I'm going to put a big, I'll highlight where we're going to start, possibly tomorrow or Monday. We'll see. And then I want to get through this and then once we finish this, we're going to do some other stuff. I'm so tired of talking about her, but this is obviously very notable in the community, and I do want to finish it. So, Bullhorn Betty must identify what exact duty of care is owed. Cites case. She has not. And for that reason, the count must be dismissed. Granted. Motion granted. All right. I need to find a highlighter. Aha. Woo. Let's do orange. I have orange, or we'll do orange. All right. That is where we shall start. And we pick up. Oh, I'll just put the little tab here too. Okay. All right. Well, thank you guys for hanging out with me. Isn't this fun? See, I like to do, I don't know. I just like to feel like I'm using my brain. Betty doesn't make me feel like I'm using my brain. But this, at least where those of us who have legal education and haven't used it in a long time, well, we're refreshing our education. And those of you who never thought you wanted any legal education, well, you're getting some anyway. So thank you guys for hanging out with me. I appreciate it so much, and I appreciate the mods. Thank you all. I hope everybody will have a good weekend. I'm going out to watch, well, by watch, I mean talk and
I might listen. I might put my AirPods in. But they'll all be watching the football game. It'll be pretty loud. So I hope that you guys get to go and just get off YouTube for a little while, no matter what. I hope you get to go do something fun with family or friends. And if your friends aren't, or your family doesn't live close by, you know, go pet a dog or a cat, something like that. All right, y'all. Have a good weekend, and I will see you either, well, it'll be tomorrow or Monday, but if we do tomorrow, then I'm going to have to take Monday. I'm going to need to take Monday off to, you know, real life calls, but I'll figure it out. No worries. All right. Y'all have a great weekend. Thank you for joining me, and I will see you soon. Bye.
Thought that you should know I've been going solo. Want my love, baby, earn it. Yeah, dancing on my own. See if you can follow. Got me feeling alive. Watch me go, lose control. Is this real? All I feel. Break the signs. Every time let's be real, be real, be real. I do what I want. Ooh, I do what I want. Ooh, I do what I want. Ooh, I do what I want. I want. Hear me now, I do what I want. Are you ready now? 'Cause it won't be easy. Only get what you work for. Gotta go all out whenever you see me. Don't be wasting my time. Watch me go, lose control. Is this real? All I feel. Break the signs. Every time let's be real, be real, be real. I do what I want. Ooh, I do what I want. Ooh, I do what I want. Ooh, I do what I want. Hear me now. Watch me go, lose control. Is this real? All I feel. Break the signs. Every time let's be real, be real, be real. I do what I want. I do what I want.
Good morning. What's new, pussycat?